And those voices belong to Pete Checkovitch from Blue Ridge CTC. Pete, good morning to you.
Good morning, Rob. Good to see you.
Mary Hendrix from Shepherd. Mary, good to see you again.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Pleasure to have you in studio. And in regards to the state capitol, we talked to, yes.
Before we go too far, a lot of our guests bring in treats and goodies for us, which we always appreciate. Dr. Hendrix, Mary did not bring in treats and goodies for us, but she brought in treats and goodies for my dogs, which is really more important.
I was going to get in there. I'm glad you said that because I was ready to go in the bag, and that wouldn't have been good.
It would have been fun to get on camera.
It would have indeed.
My dogs love Mary Hendrix because she brings them treats all the time. So
dogs love those who feed them, don't they?
They're wonderful dogs. Big Tess and Little Tess.
Big Tess and Little Tess.
Big guard dog. I was trying to tell somebody the story of the two Tesses, and this person who also has a golden just kind of looked at me and said, they have the same name. I'm like, it's too long of a story. So
it is that. So.
Well, dogs and men, the way to the heart is through the stomach.
So,
yes.
So, Mr. Merrill, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to weave in the fact that my dogs are near and dear to Mary Hendrix.
Oh, good. That's very nice, Bill. You don't have to apologize for interrupting.
I was not.
Just usual. Used to it by now, sorry. Anyway, as we were saying, we had folks in from CMC Metals last week, and they were talking about their relationship with Shepherd and Blue Ridge and just the training opportunities that are available to them at Blue Ridge and the programs that they work through. Any business, really, that we speak with speaks glowingly of Shepherd and Blue Ridge. And you folks got mentioned during the governor's State of the State speech, which I thought was a welcome addition to what we normally hear during the State of the State, because so many folks in the Eastern Panhandle feel like they are ignored. The funding for years has not always been equal in the Eastern Panhandle. I understand that remedy is underway and it's improved over the years, but it's nice to see you folks get some recognition.
It's nice to see that. You know, you struck a responsive note with me. President McMurrin, who was the first president at Shepherd, back when it was at Shepherd College, he wasn't their president for very long, but when he retired, he was interviewed by the local newspaper. They said, give us your impression of, what it's like to be president here at this wonderful college. And he said, well, we're 315 miles from Charleston, and nobody really pays much attention to us. And I said, that was in 1872.
See?
And not too many things have changed since then. But you're right. It's great to hear, Shepherd and Blue Ridge being mentioned with this Power Tech Center. It's going to be, I think, a really fun project.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Dr. Hendrix, you too, I'm sure you took delight in having Shepherd mentioned during that speech.
Yes, sir. We were just thrilled. And I will say this, we have had the opportunity to interact with Governor Morrissey when he was AG, and even before then. So having our governor actually live and be from the Eastern Panhandle is going to be great for all of us, because there's so many remarkable assets here in the Eastern Panhandle, and I feel that they're not really highlighted in Charleston all the time. So to have this opportunity to work with Blue Ridge on this particular project, we are really going to be great partners.
Let's talk about this project. What is involved?
So Dr. Checkovitch and I are still learning all the details about what's involved, but we had the privilege of interacting with three of the governor's main, I would say, promoters of this policy, Mr. Caphart, Mr. Johnson, and Mr. Harridge. So about a week ago or so, on a Zoom meeting, we talked about all of our academic assets that we could put forward. And as the governor said, think of this as energy meeting technology and the power that would be unleashed. And that's what we talked about. And maybe Dr. Checkovitch could mention some more details.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about what that stands for. It's the promoting or preparing our workforce through energy and revolutionary technology. And I think the revolutionary technology is something we've been doing for years at Blue Ridge. If you're familiar with the companies that have come into the area, one of the primary things is that they ask about is, what's your workforce look like? Well, we got this community college here that can train your workforce right to your specifications. And it's been the same with P&G, Technomark, Logoplast, Clorox, Rockwool. We've trained
Hollywood Casino.
Hollywood casinos. Yeah,
Back in the day.
A slightly different one.
It was indeed.
And before that, the power company.
That's right.
Potomac Edison, then went First Energy back to Potomac Edison. Yeah, we've had lots of experience with that, and we're at the associate's degree level, and prior to that, we do certificates, certifications, skill sets, short courses. A lot of what the governor talked about was, or has talked about, is the business of, if I'm an adult, I can't necessarily take 4 years to go to school to get trained. So we've done something called micro-credentials, and we're offering micro-credentials where people can build a skill set very quickly, sometimes in weeks, and actually are employable at that point. So we have been doing the occupational degrees for many, many years, and as Mary will tell you, or might tell you, that when a person gets to a certain point in their career, they want to come back to school and get a bachelor's degree, qualifies them for a managerial position or a supervisory position. And so the language of higher education is articulation. And we have many programs, it's over 60, I think, where students can begin at Blue Ridge, transfer to Shepherd, and really the sky's the limit for them after that. They can get a master's degree in business, for example. It's a career path really worth noting. And
are you guaranteed acceptance at Shepherd if you complete at Blue Ridge?
Yes, they are. And I would just springboard off of what Pete said. The RBA program is becoming very popular among RBA, the Regents Bachelor of Art program, among adults. So they can start at Blue Ridge, they can go off and work in their profession, and then they want to come back and be able to get that bachelor's degree. We can credit their work experience into credit hours toward their degree. So we are seeing a 27% increase in RBA applicants. But I'd say a really exciting collaborative partnership that we have right now is with our dual enrollment students. And that's the juniors and seniors in high school who want to start early. And so they're able to graduate with a high school degree as well as have credits toward a 2-year college degree or a 4-year college degree. Mm-hmm. So that's been great.
Yeah, the students might not know exactly what they want to do, but it sure does help to know what the options are. And that's what we're pretty good at doing. We can lay out the whole 9 yards for them about you could do this or this or this or this, and it works well for many, many students.
Well, it holds the bill down, too, for
Oh,
college costs.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We were all thrilled when the governor wove it into his State of the State speech. But it's my understanding that it's kind of an open format, open artistic screen now, and how it's going to be put together and formulated is been developed now. The fact that you folks have been at the table along with WVU and Marshall, you've had some preliminary discussion. Where is it going to go from there to put some flesh around this proposal that the governor's given?
Well, so the first opportunity was for Blue Ridge and Shepherd to just say, here's what we have that we're very proud of, that here are our intellectual capital and our academic assets. And it's all in this space. So they collect this information. Dr. Checkovitch has provided a beautiful white paper of everything they can do for workforce development in this space. Shepherd has done the same thing, focusing on like the applied business, innovation, critical thinking. This was just a wonderful topic. And they are collecting from the governor's office information from Marshall as well as from WVU. So then we will reconvene. But just to know that we are in these discussions very early on is very, very important for us.
Yeah, we can actually help shape, the outcome.
That's the point I was driving at.
Yeah.
That's so open right now. It can go in a lot of different directions. The fact that you're at the table early is important.
Yes.
I think that's
working
great.
together.
So to sort of backtrack a little bit, folks online are talking about dual enrollment. What percentage of students who are dually enrolled then choose to continue their education at Shepherd? Is it 50%, 75%, do you have any inkling of what that number is, Mary?
So we have about 200 dual enrolled students per semester, which is a great number. It's really been growing rapidly. About 39% of them, I'm going to say from last year, enroll at Shepherd. But they have the opportunity, the credits can transfer anywhere. In fact, last year we had a student whose credits transferred from dual enrollment courses at Shepherd to Yale, so that we know that our courses are transferable to the Ivies. Yes.
Again, let me go back to the governor and what he proposes to do. From each one of your perspectives, what would you like to see that would be incorporated into this long-term plan? First with Shepherd, Mary.
Yeah. So I think the most important thing is that there will be a financial resource that's going to be put on the table for all of us to be able to partner and work together toward a common goal. So for Shepherd, we are going to be interested in working most effectively with Blue Ridge on the business aspect, STEM aspect, that's science, technology, engineering, and math, and agribusiness. We have several different topics that we're going to work on, all toward this critical energy, power, and technology. But I do think we will be incentivized to be able to do that.
So mostly from the business aspect.
Yes,
Yeah,
for
okay.
us it'll be primarily business with aspects of STEM.
Certainly, okay.
Yeah.
Pete?
Well, it's at least a three-part thing for me. We need to work closely with the economic development folks in the region and at the state level. We need to work closely with the legislators, and they need to work closely with us. When you have the three together working in the same direction, it's very powerful, and there's almost nothing we can't do together. When we worked with folks in Charleston and our local EDAs, now you know how we were able to attract somebody like Procter & Gamble or like Rockwell or like Technomark or Logoplast. They all can come to the table. We're sort of like an early on welcome wagon to say, here's what we have to offer for you. And if you want to take a tour of our tech center, we'll even treat you to lunch.
And that's Steve Weiss making that lunch sometimes,
Got a
See?
good lunch program.
There you go.
Yeah, let me pursue this a little bit farther. I'm conditioned over the years to have WVU and Marshall been the big boys in the state and come in and basically dictate what's going on. But this looks like it's going to be a different format, that everybody will be equal involved. What is unique that Shepherd can provide and Blue Ridge can provide to better than what WVU and Marshall can provide?
So I would like to just say, based on what Pete has pointed out here, with all the new industry that has come into the Eastern Panhandle, that is unique. I think that is, number one, our platform. And so what Shepherd has done is we developed an applied business lab, which allows all of these different businesses in the Eastern Panhandle to look for interns at Shepherd to be able to do the current work, office work for these different businesses, allows the businesses to kind of interview these students long term to see if they're going to be future employees. So what a great opportunity just based on that. I don't know of another area in West Virginia that has the concentration of new industry coming into town. And we're hearing about more new industry.
When new industry does come in and you provide the training, are they physically putting a machine in your location and they're training on those machines so that they're able to go to work, or are you adapting what you have to fit their specifications?
It goes both ways. We generally have gotten grants out of the Chancellor's office to replicate whatever equipment, and by the way, it's very expensive to do that model, where we train people on exactly what they'll see when they go into the workplace so they can hit the ground running. In fact, I think it was folks from Rockwell that came to look at our plant, and they said, you have the exact same Siemens machine that they're going to be using when they come to our plant. I'm like, that's right, we're Siemens certified. And so we have, based on what the company's needs are, we have collaborative faculty, where we take faculty from the business and we take our current faculty that work for Blue Ridge, and they form a team to outline whatever curriculum, whatever instruction we need to have so that we get people prepared to work. And the two things that I think we mentioned to the governor's staff, when you're doing the occupational training, it really helps to have people who have retired from the field or getting close to retirement from the field, but still are current with it. And they're expensive because they've come from business and industry, which is generally a little bit higher pay scale than education. The other thing is the equipment, and it changes all the time. The technology, if you just take a look at the computer on your desk, how many times have you changed it in the last 10 years? Maybe none, maybe some. I know with mine.
A couple of times, yeah.
Yeah, a couple times, yes. Same thing with technology. Especially if it's a German machine, they always seem to be coming out with newer and bigger models. But those are the two expensive pieces, and I think what Mary's talking about is an incentive to provide the equipment and the good training. Nobody ever said education was cheap, and good education is even less cheap, if that's the way to say it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to work with the governor's office to realize, yeah, you've got this vision, you got this dream, but probably it's going to cost some money to get here. We're willing to do it, and we can do it. Just need to have the right conditions in place.
This dream of the governor's, and again, we all applaud it. It has phenomenal potential. Is this a dream that the governor put together in a vacuum, which I doubt, or is it a dream that the legislators were very involved with? If it was the legislators, have you been discussing with any of the legislators about what the center could look like?
I have not.
Yeah. I'm going to say not yet.
They're going
Not
to
yet,
Charleston
not yet.
soon.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all
Just
have to
saying.
go. And also, I would say we have the opportunity at Shepherd as well as at Blue Ridge to bring in your captains of industry of all the different businesses in the local area, even the tri-state area. And they talk specifically to our students about what's needed. So you have your book learning, your knowledge, but you also have real world issues that CEOs are dealing with. And they'll be able to tell students, this is what we're looking for in the workforce of tomorrow. So that's very important.
That is very important, and let me applaud both of you. I know you both very well. And you mentioned the captains of industry. Both of you have a very impressive network into this community. The captains of industry, or at least their lieutenants. You know these people, you know the personalities, and that has to serve not only you, Eastern Panhandle, but the state of West Virginia quite well.
Yes, it does.
I think it does, yes.
Yeah.
So not this particular venture that you're talking about, but we know sometimes the legislature gets into session and there's funding discussions, that kind of thing. Are you nervous about your other funding within the confines of this particular legislature or governor, or you feel pretty confident that we're not going to see some draconian cut at the 9th, the 11th hour, I guess?
I think there's always some nervousness this time of year with the budgets, and the best we can do is all we can do, and that's to talk to our senators,
Educate.
talk to and educate, and to say, there's something called the funding formula, performance-based funding formula, which was passed. And I know Blue Ridge does very well on that funding formula because we have good enrollment. All I would ask is for the legislature to please fund the funding formula, which they approved 3 or 4 years ago.
Different subject if I can. Over the weekend, Dr. Michael Benson, president of Coastal Carolina, was announced as the new president of WVU. Have either one of you had the opportunity to meet him in your previous circles?
No.
No, Dr. Checkovitch and I were talking about that right before we came on your program. We'd love the opportunity to meet him. I think we might have an entree through the chairman of the board, maybe Rick Pill.
Rick Pill, yes.
Would be
yeah,
kind
yeah.
enough to introduce us. So
I'm sure Rick will, at least I assume that he would, because Rick not only is on the board of governors for WVU, he is a strong supporter of both Shepherd and Blue Ridge.
yeah.
I think a luncheon in our boardroom is appropriate.
There you go. You got the chef.
If your chef's
Yeah.
cooking, we'll be
And
there.
don't forget the host.
Yeah, the
Ms.
people
Merrill.
who
Yeah.
got
That's
you
right.
here.
Yeah.
The suggestion that you had.
That's right. If you invite Rob, by definition, you have to invite Maria.
The two of
and
us,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh, of course.
I want to point out there's a
Consider it
lot of shameless sucking up going on, and none of it by me. None of it by me.
But
Bob.
you were taking it all in.
Well, I am the host.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. And as we wrap up with just a couple of minutes to go here, how is the enrollment for Shepherd this year, Dr. Hendrix?
We were with undergraduate and graduate students. We were a little over 3,300, so we were stable.
Stable.
Compared
Very
to last
good.
year.
What have your peaks been?
The peaks since I've been at Shepherd have been as high as about 3,500, but it's been a little difficult with COVID. We're now bouncing back to pre-COVID
And I think
levels.
this is a national trend as well.
It is.
There's, I believe, a fewer. The pool is smaller for college-age children too, as a result of birth rates in the country too. Dr. Pete, how
That's
about
right.
your end?
Yeah, we're up about 5%. So once we moved from a fall-only model to a year-round model, so we look at the whole academic year, and a clever thing which our enrollment management team has done is institute a second 8 weeks, so we can pick up some students that weren't necessarily that interested at the beginning of school, but pick them up in the second 8 weeks, and that has helped to push our enrollment up a little bit too.
Are either of you still doing any type of virtual classes
Oh,
with kids?
yeah.
That's still a thing?
Oh yeah, it's very popular. Online, yeah, yep.
Yeah, and hybrid.
Hybrid?
Yes.
Especially, when you have snow days and ice days, you're able to go immediately online to
Right.
a hybrid model.
Right.
Yeah.
I did see that on your page when the weather would be interesting, you folks would have some virtual learning days.
Yes.
And I think with some of the classes the kids take, one day a week might be virtual and the other day in the classroom sometimes, correct?
That can be, yes.
Yeah, okay, very
Absolutely.
good. How's the football team going to be this year?
Oh, they're going to be super. We've had so many new students come in through the portal,
Yes.
right?
What do you think of that portal?
Well, it's bi-directional, and of course that's
You lose.
yeah, it's a concern.
Uh-huh.
And we are not paying our student athletes. They are coming. They are great and hardworking student athletes. We're looking forward to it.
But for everyone you lose in the portal, that is a recruitment tool that you take advantage of.
Yes, sir. We do.
Yeah,
Yes.
the players themselves on any sport, can they work out their own NIL deals with local businesses or whatever? Is that allowed?
They can.
Yeah. Do
and
some of them?
We did have one, Ronnie Brown, when
Oh,
he
yeah.
was with us. He used to be called Downtown Ronnie Brown, ran so fast. He had a deal with Brown's right outside of Shepherdstown Automotive.
Automotive,
They had
yeah.
a nice big sign for him. Yeah.
Yeah, they do a lot of repairs there.
Yes,
I
they
drive
do.
by them every day on my way home.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you both being in here. And Dr. Hendrix, 15 seconds, how can you find out more about Shepherd University?
Well, we can go to our website, please, www.shepherd.edu. And I would just like to add, we're going to have a March 19th Day of Giving where the theme is A Day to Make a Difference.
Oh, very nice. Dr. Pete?
Same thing, blueridgectc.edu website, good website, explains a lot of things.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in the winter. I see your websites frequently to find out what the school situation is. Are we in class today or not? Thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Good
for having us.
information, folks.
Dr. Mary Hendrix, Dr.
Thank
Pete
you.
Checkovitch, and